Hello YouTube and welcome back to week 10 of the NFL season. Today I'm going to be going over the top 10 plays under 5% ownership on the Sunday main slate. I'm going to kind of go position by position. I usually only give out like one play at the quarterback, running back, and tight end position, as that's not typically where you want to get your low owned plays. It's really the wide receiver position that you want to kind of get different, and that's where specifically I try to get different in my tournament lineups. So starting out at the quarterback position, Russell Wilson should be under 5% owned this week. People are just going to be really hesitant to play him coming back from that finger injury, and my thoughts are just like, if the doctor cleared him and he's coming back, he's going to be good to go. And I definitely like him more if Aaron Rodgers plays, as that means I think the game could be a little more back and forth, force him to throw a little bit more. Whereas if it's Jordan Love, they might, they could get a lead and then just run the ball, which we know the Seahawks like to do anyway. So I like it more if Rodgers plays, but I think Russ, when you can get an elite quarterback like that at a reasonable price tag, only $6,700 at low ownership, I'm going to have a little bit of exposure to him. At the running back position, I'm actually really surprised to see this. And I think this will change depending on news that the Panthers give out on his workload. And that is Christian McCaffrey. So right now he's projected at under 5% ownership. I mean, even he saw like 50% of the snaps, I believe, this past week, and he still had close to 20 touches. That is crazy, and I think even if he gets 75% of the workload, I would want to play McCaffrey at under 5% ownership. Now, if the Panthers come out and say he's a full green light, he's getting his full workload, then he will no longer be a sub 5% owned play. He's still a good play. He's a great play, obviously, especially at only 8,400, but he's not going to be like a low owned tournament play. He would be a very highly owned tournament play. So then, I always do wide receivers last because that's where the majority of them are. At the tight end position, my favorite low-owned tight end is going to be Noah Fant. It's looking like he's coming off the COVID list. He was activated from the COVID list. Noah Fant is one of the more talented tight ends in this league, and going against the Eagles every single week, I've been saying to play tight ends against the Eagles. That's kind of where they funnel a lot of the productions to them and can kind of like to running backs. So I'm going to be really excited to play Noah Fant this week at only 4,300. He's not that much more expensive than the popular tight end plays this week, which are going to be like, Dan Arnold, Freiermuth will probably get some hype after his recent performances. Tyler Conklin will be a little popular. And especially on a slate where you don't have, like Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, like those big three aren't even on this slate. I do like Pitts a lot this week, but he will be a little higher owned. So now getting into the kind of the heart of this video, and that's the wide receiver position. This is typically where I really try to make sure I get at least one low owned receiver in all the tournament lineups I make. So starting at the top, we'll go with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown isn't my favorite receiver from this game, and Julio is also going to be low owned. I like him more. But A.J. Brown, an elite wide receiver, when you can get these elite wide receivers at low ownership, that's what I always try to do. And you will be seeing probably more of Lattimore than Julio Jones will be. But I'm sure, I don't know if Lattimore will necessarily shadow Brown, as, Julio's still on the team as well. There'll definitely be some times where he's not seeing Lattimore and he could have a big play and break the slate. So I will have a little bit of A.J. Brown, but who I like more is going to be Julio Jones. It looks like he has a questionable tag again, but it's just that same hamstring. I don't think he'll be popular at all. He's the cheapest he's been, I believe, all year, maybe in years probably. I know he's not as the same as he used to be. He's not as good as he used to be, but I think the Titans' game plan here is going to be to pass the ball. They're not going to be running Adrian Peterson, McNichols, and Foreman. that's not going to be their game plan against this stout run defense of the Saints. They're going to pass the ball. They saw what the Falcons probably did. They've seen what some other teams, that's kind of where you want to attack the Saints. And I'm going to love to play a low-owned Julio this week. I think he has the best matchup on the entire Titans team. The next play is going to be both the... I'll just combine both of them. Both of the Vikings receivers. I know all year that I've been saying not to target the Chargers pass defense, as they've been one of the best, pass defenses in the league. They force you to run the ball. However, they've been dealing with some injuries in their secondary. And as we saw last week, Devontae Smith had a very good game against them. And I prefer Jefferson here over Thielen at only $1,000 more, as at this point in their careers, I believe Jefferson's the much better talent. But I'm going to have exposure to both of them this week. This is one of my favorite game environments. I think this could be a back and forth game. I probably won't be playing like Kirk Cousins necessarily, but I do like Herbert with his pass catchers, and then love running it back with one of Thielen or Jefferson. The next one, well, I guess I'll go to the other side of the game, because Mike Williams is going to be really low on as well. A lot of people that play Herbert are going to play Keenan Allen, or like Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen. I think Mike Williams is going to be overlooked, as the last several weeks since his knee injury, he has not had the target share that he had at the beginning of the season. But with each week, that knee should be getting better, and they're not just going to stop using this guy. As he gets healthier, they saw what he did at the beginning of the year. They're going to go back to that. And he's already won multiple slates this year. He's been on multiple tournament winners. He has the ceiling, and now he's at one of his lowest prices that he's been all year. So honestly, a really good low-owned game stack is going to be Herbert, Mike Williams, and then Jefferson or Thielen, because I've already mentioned they all should be pretty low-owned. The next one, and this is actually one of my favorites on the slate. I know it's ugly. You're like, what, Zach Pascal? But one thing you also want to do in tournaments is look for leverage. Jonathan Taylor, after what he's done the last few weeks, people go through game logs and they're going to look at Taylor and see that matchup against the Jaguars, and I think he's going to be one of the higher owned running backs on this slate. And then Pittman, same thing. People are going to go to Pittman's game logs and see what he's done. I mean, he's been a touchdown machine. Wentz loves targeting him. But Pascal will be great leverage off of both of those. So, even if Taylor gets like one touchdown, but he has like maybe 80 yards rushing or something, like he's not going to be a tournament winner. And then maybe Pittman goes like, I don't know, 5 for 85 or something and doesn't score. And then Pascal is vulturing some touchdowns here. He's seeing a lot more red zone targets than you would think. So he's seen 6, 8, and 7 targets in his last 3 games. But out of those targets, he's seen quite a few of those where it counts the most in the red zone. He just hasn't really delivered yet. His first 2 games, he had 3 touchdowns total, and now he's he hasn't scored since. And going against the Jaguars, I think it's a great matchup. He's one of my favorite low-owned leverage plays on the entire slate. He'll probably be in my Millie Maker lineup this week. The next guy I like here is going to be Diontae Harris. So going against the Titans have allowed the most points in the entire league fantasy-wise to the wide receiver position. Trevor Siemian's favorite target is Diontae Harris. It's not Callaway or Traquan, it's Harris. And at only $4K to get like the number 1 target on an offense, Kamara is looking like he's not going to play this week. So that'll probably make Mark Ingram extremely popular, and he's going to be a very good play in the slate if Kamara in fact misses. But Diontae Harris here, I mean, Simeon's going to still have to throw the ball this game. And if you look at his recent targets since Simeon started, he's gotten 7 and 8 targets. That's very good at that price tag. And he's a type of player, his style, he can easily catch a long one and blow the slate wide open. So I like Harris a lot. Finally, I think I've already done 10 plays, but I'll give one last bonus one because I couldn't keep him out of here. And that is going to be Terry McLaurin. I don't know why. I'm actually kind of surprised he's going to be under 5% owned. I think it's just coming out of the bye week. You know, people haven't seen him play in a few weeks, and that causes people just to not play a guy for some reason. But going against this Bucs secondary, McLaurin has the most contested catches in the entire league this year. He's one of the best receivers in the league, and he's obviously Heineke's favorite target. You have the running back, Gibson, that's been banged up. You don't really run against this Tampa Bay defense, so they're going to be forced to pass. So you know Tom Brady is going to keep his foot on the pedal this whole game. And they're going to be forced to play catch up and stay in this game. And I think you could see 10-plus targets to McLaurin this week. So every Heineke team that I make, which I do like Heineke quite a bit this week, will have McLaurin. And then I still will be sprinkling in McLaurin, in my other game stacks. Like if I'm stacking that Vikings-Chargers game up, I'll still sprinkle in like McLaurin and those types of lineups as well. So I think that about sums up my low-owned plays of the week. I hope you found some good ones in here. I really, really like some of these recent weeks. They've kind of been some ugly plays, but I really like some of the low-owned plays this week. So please leave a like, comment your favorite low-owned play, and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the top stacks of the week. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.